When it comes to ARK and release dates, I take everything with a pinch of salt. I do not get overly excited, but it finally looks like we might have reason to. Let's get cracking. Alright Tinkers, I'm Toastbloke and I am super happy to say we have some good news when it comes to ARK Survival Ascended, and that's why I wanted to make this video. I've been wanting to try these new style videos for a long time and come up with an interesting format. I'm not there yet, I'm just talking to the camera today, but it's just been miserable. Bad news after bad news, and I didn't want to get too upset, get too angry and come across like a bit of a douche. I am one, but that's besides the point. Now, the reason I am talking about ARK today is because we have been given a release date for Scorched Earth. If we look at the community crunch here, it's not where you'd expect it to be. It's not right at the top. It's down here under this picture, this nice little sketch, very stylistic, that is related to Bob's Tall Tales. And if you come right down to the bottom here, you'll notice we have a little bit of information saying Scorched Earth will blast in on March the 31st. Now this is crazy. We were told April the 1st. We thought it was going to be a joke because it was on April's Fool's Day. But it turns out the joke was they weren't going to be late. They weren't even going to be on time. They were going to be early apparently. So we're on track. We're on track for release at the end of this month, March the 31st for Scorched Earth. And this is super good news. What's even better, we've actually been told that the rest of the roadmap for the other content, the story content, the canonical story, is on track too. That means we can expect Scorch when we've been told, Aberration, Extinction, and also Gen 1, Gen 2 when we've been told. All of these maps are apparently coming out on time or thereabouts, which is crazy. I'm super excited to hear that. Whether that's what happens is a different story. But let's be hopeful. If it happens with Scorched, that's a step forward and I'll be happy about that. So yeah, we're going to get some better estimations of what's going to happen with Bob's Tall Tales. But what they're laying out here is that is a completely separate thing. So don't worry about that right now. All you need to know is Scorched is set to come out a day early. Who would have thought that would be the case? Now, something that I want to point out is the fact that they are very, very clear that it is the canonical story that is on track, not the sponsored maps from the old game. Now, we already know that the centre has been delayed, which is an absolute pain, absolute nuisance, and it's just meant the islands become even more stale. But if their trusted partner is working on that map, and that has been delayed and that is behind schedule, does that mean all of the other sponsored mod maps from the past are now behind schedule? It sounds like that is probably the case, because I don't imagine that they're working on the centre and other maps at the same time. You'd think they would focus on one at a time. I could be wrong. I'm not a game dev. I don't know what the best approach is, but I know personally, I think I would prefer to work on one thing, get it right, get it sorted before moving on to the next. So we have no idea what's going on with the old sponsored maps. We don't know if they're coming out on time, if a few of them could come out close together, or if it's just going to be a whole kickback and everything is relying on that centre map coming out. So be interesting to see what happens there. But yeah, it's a little bit weird. That really key piece of information is down the page. It's not right at the top, but we're getting Scorched. That is the main thing. And we're probably going to get the other story maps in a sensible time frame, which is super, super cool, because we've been messed about loads and we don't want to be messed about again. Now, this is also listed in with all of this information on Bob's Tall Tales, which is the DLC or the mod that people have been getting told about in the last few crunches. We've got a lot of information on that now, information that we did not have before. First off, I was a little bit confused reading this because Wildcard are telling us here that there's some confusion about Bob's Tall Tales, and they talk about the description and the dates in the description, and I was like, what are you on about? Where is this? So I did a little bit of digging, and it turns out that they have actually listed the DLC on Steam, which means we can find out a little bit about it. If I bring up Steam here, you'll see we have a Steam page. ARK Bob's Tall Tales is listed as a DLC, and we've got the artwork here and then this new little drawing that has popped up today, and we are told it is coming soon. And then we have a load of information dropped in here about the DLC itself, which is really quite interesting. Now, I'm not going to talk about the top. I'm going to jump in to the three main sections to me, and that is these here, right? Now we do have this, but we already know the Oasisaur is coming, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. But right now, we have loads of info of what's going to be coming with Scorched Earth if you get this DLC. Now, I want to point something out here. They have written that this will be available at launch. This being the Frontier Showdown, which is the extra content that is going to be made available for Scorched Earth. But basically, what I picked up from this is there's going to be quite a lot of DLC coming for Scorched, and I haven't really thought about the other maps too much yet. They're rough ideas. That's what I feel. You can tell from the paragraph sizes here. This is Scorched, this is Aberration, and this is Extinction. And there's less information in each following paragraph. But we've got a lot here. Saddle up and stake your claim on the Scorched Earth. Build new Western-style structures. We're getting building pieces. Western-themed building pieces. This is sick. As a builder, as somebody who loves building in the game, that is going to be so, so cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do cowboy style, okay? We're also going to get a piano. So we've had the drums in the game for ages. We can bang on a drum. Looks like we're going to have a piano. I wonder if it's going to be a mini game that plays it, or if you just sit there and you can choose songs to play and things like that, a bit like a jukebox. It'll be interesting to see how that comes into the game. But again, something new, something different. These are things I really like the sound of. We can also hunt for buried treasure with our shovel. Now, what I think this is going to be is a replacement for the fishing system, because let's be real, there are going to be very few fish. There's very little water on Scorched Earth. And so by using a shovel and digging and being able to dig up blueprints, maybe cool items out of the ground, is a nice little way of the guys getting around that at the dev team. So I think that's going to be quite cool. I mean, it could be other treasures, it could be something new entirely, but that would be my thought. This is going to be a little bit like a system that can replace fishing in the game on Scorched. You can tame hardy new creatures to pull your wagon. Now, we know the Oasisaur's coming, but this says new ones that pull your wagon. So there's two bits of information there. We are going to have wagons that can be pulled. That is cool. But there's going to be new creatures capable of pulling the wagons. So you're not just going to get the Oasisaur, you're going to get other creatures too. But I have no idea what they are. I don't know if they're going to be a variation on something that's already there, or if it's completely new, something we've never seen before. But there's a lot just being left up to the imagination here, which is quite cool, but it'll be interesting to see. Because I know we're going to have the creature vote creature, Oasisaur. Does that mean there's more? That's what I'm thinking from reading this at least. And finally, it says we can hop aboard a chugging steam train to explore the harsh Badlands. And that would make me think we're going to have tracks, but more importantly, vehicles in the game that we can potentially build on. I know if we look at the image, my pal Captain Fat Dog noticed there was a vault on the back. So that means we're going to be able to build onto the trains. But how much? Is it something that works like a platform saddle and we just build on top of it? Or are we going to be seeing some sort of system where we can place foundations and build on those? It's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Now then, under the same package, we've got two more DLCs, which makes it look like you're going to pay once and then get DLCs for 3 maps. That sounds like a season pass to me. What upsets me a little bit is this doesn't include Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. Where's the ideas for that? Are we going to get that in this pack going forwards? Or is there going to be a separate Genesis 1 and 2 season pass for DLC 2? I really hope not. I think if they're going to package it all. Don't do 2 separate ones, or let us buy things individually. Now, if this is super cheap, I don't mind it being a season pass. If I have to pay a $5 or a $10 and I'm going to get loads of extra content going forward, I'm going to be decent deal. Not great, but a decent deal. If it gets to the point where I have to pay 30 quid for this and then 30 quid for one on Genesis, I'm going to be kicking off. I'm not going to be happy. But I can't really comment too much until I see what prices come through. So to me, it's going to depend on that. Fair's fair. They're making stuff. You buy it. And I'm getting the feeling that this will be in mod format. Everything Wildcard's doing at the minute is mod format. The new creatures, mod format. New items, mod format. You download, you install it yourself. I mean, even Survival of the Fittest, which hasn't had a lot of love recently, but has been mentioned again, is a mod. and it's in the options screen, but it's a mod that you have to download. So it seems to be the approach that Wildcard are going for, making everything a mod, making everything a choice. The only problem I'm going to have is if I can't choose to have some of these things in the game without the others, I'll be a little bit annoyed because I'm not a fan of the Oasis Saw at all. But again, we'll get to that later. It's coming. There's going to be a little bit of negativity at some point. There just is. Now, if we look at the other two packs, there is very, very little information. We know there's going to be an airship, vehicles again being added to the game. I wonder if, like on Frontier Showdown for Scorched, there'll be new structures and things like that. I'd really like to see that. I just feel like it's maybe too early for them to have the full package designed. But I'd like to think there's going to be a bit more than just a blimp and these retro futuristic gadgets that they're talking about. Now, they do say there's going to be some mysteries that you have to unravel, which makes me think there might be some extra story content. But is that just the notes? Is that just animated notes or more things like that to find on the map? Because that'd be a little bit disappointing. They're making it sound way more exciting there than it might actually be. With Wasteland War, that is going to be the one that comes out with Extinction. We get told, fuel up your war rigs. Again, that sounds like a vehicle to me, fueling up. I'm presuming it is the vehicles that you're going to have prepped for war. Does this mean they can do damage by impact? Does this mean we can get guns loaded on top and shoot from them, different weapons? Can we freehand shoot off them? Can we stand on the back? It's going to be really interesting to see how they implement this all into the game. Now, some of these I'm super excited about because they feel like role-playing elements. Something you can put in the game, you can have fun, you can install it as a mod, and it'll freshen up the map. What I'm worried about is that these things are going to become more than just roleplay, and they're going to become the meta. And if they become the meta, ARK won't feel like ARK. It won't feel like the dinosaur game or the fantasy creature game that we've all been loving for so long now. And that would be a little bit of a turn off for me personally. I wanted it to feel like, here's some things you can play with, but it's not the actual game. It's not going to affect the core of the game too much. And again, if it's a mod, I guess you can choose when and how often you want to use it. If you want to play in that style, it'll be interesting. You can always jump in and jump out if that is the case. Now, other than that, they just say prepare for high octane action as you clash with rival tribes and scavenge. This makes me think there's going to maybe be a system where you can go and scavenge materials. There might be old things lying about on the ground that you can get and use to maybe craft, which is kind of just what ARK is anyway. You pick up stones, you harvest things, and you craft. But scavenge makes me think you're maybe going to be looking for new materials. But hopefully there are specific items, new assets in the game that you will scavenge for. Maybe it's a new mechanic, but all in all, I hope it's something new that you get and you put together that you can use to create things or even decorate things in the game. I think that would be cool. And judging by what they're adding into the first one, the one that's coming with Scorched Earth, I feel like they will be adding more things like structures, vehicles, story, just cool little things like that piano, mechanics like the shovel for finding treasure, for treasure hunts. And I'm hoping that they will pad these bottom two ideas out because the Frontier Showdown one sounds pretty good. Other than the Oasis Saw, right? I like the idea of having new structure pieces with each map. I like the idea of having these vehicles to get around. So you're not just using creatures, but you're going to have a wagon, for example. You're going to have a train. Really cool ideas. And then all these other little assets that just help create the story that you might be role-playing on that map. Like the piano, you know? It's going to be very interesting. And again, more new teams. Hopefully, we see those with each of the DLCs when they release. So that's my thoughts on that. I think it sounds great. Some of it sounds really interesting. Some of it I'm like, we'll just have to see how that goes. But if you've got the choice to pick what you want, turn things on and off, disable, enable, or just not bother with some, then I'm going to be happy enough. I can just do the things that I like as long as I'm getting enough to make it feel like the monetary value of it is worthwhile. Now, if we go back to the community crunch, there is a little bit more information on Bob's Tall Tales. And what we are being told here is that we should see this as a bonus chapter, as an extra to the actual map when it comes out. So far, we've got Scorched is on track. In fact, it's early, March the 31st, release date for that. We've also got the news that the whole roadmap is looking decent. We know more about Bob's Tall Tales and the kind of content we can expect and how that's going to work. And now it gets me to the point where I am getting really annoyed. Everything on this picture looks sick. The outfits, the characters, the skins, the creatures, the train. I love it. And then what has that got to do with cowboys and the Wild West? That giant flying thing that nobody asked for. Well, I didn't ask for. Somebody might really like this. Personally, I think it doesn't fit the game. I think it's going to ruin the game. And as somebody who didn't get to play Scorched Earth when the game first released, I'm a little bit like, I wanted that authentic experience. And that thing there is going to ruin it for us. The whole point in Scorched is meant to be brutal. It's meant to be hard to survive. Why are we getting a creature that just makes it easy? An actual oasis in the desert. What's interesting is they've expanded upon this thing's name now. It is the Oasisaur Zazura. And for those of you who don't know, Zazura is a mythical city that is believed to be in the Sahara Desert. Right? An oasis, a city in the Sahara. So it's fitting that whole theme of this guy here just being a lush, beautiful, lovely place to be living and existing when you're in the harsh world of Scorched Earth. It's basically Easy Street. That's what it is. They should have named the creature Oasisaur Easy Street or Easy Street Zura, and then that would have been really, really accurate. I think this is just going to ruin the challenge of the game for me. But again, there's all sorts of players. I originally come from PvP, play a lot of PvE now, so I don't understand this kind of thing. But yeah, I guess there's people who just want to play. They want to keep the dinos. They want to be able to revive the dinos and not have the dinos ever die. I don't see the point. This isn't a collecting game, right? It's a survival game. And that kind of just breaks the survival mechanics for me. And it also just looks ridiculous. When did you see that in a Western? Did I see that in Django Unchained? No. The Good, Bad, the Ugly? Nah, didn't see it in there either. So stick with a theme. Don't mix too many. ARK is already not a Western theme. Make the pack fully Western and get rid of the Oasisaur, and you won't have too many complaints from me as long as the content is balanced. Anyway, now that we've read the crunch from the middle to the top, we're going to go further down towards the bottom, past the mod spotlight to ARK, the animated series is live. Now I've got a few things to say about this. The first one, as a European, as somebody from England, I am very, very, very disgruntled that I can't watch this yet. Why can the US and Canada watch it and I can't? It's not fair. I mean, I can. Technically, I can. I haven't yet, but I can. But it's a faff. Why can't we just have it at the same time? What's wrong with us? Do you not like us? What's wrong with us Europeans? I thought we were all right. Like, I don't think we're that bad. But here we go again. I'm not allowed to watch my dinosaur cartoon because I'm not from the US and Canada. But I'm sure you who are have had a great time watching it. I'm hearing lovely things about it, and I can't wait for this. But this isn't about that. We already know about it. We know that it's out. If I pop over to Paramount's Twitter here, you can see that this came out. It's already out. You can watch it, US and Canada. And for people like me, the Europeans, the rest of the world, where Paramount Plus is available, this animated series will be coming out on the 19th of April. So we don't have to wait too long, but we're having to wait too long, if you know what I mean. But this isn't about the actual animated series itself, but the soundtrack, because the soundtrack from the animated series is going to be made usable for user-generated content. That means if you're a content creator like me and you're putting stuff on YouTube, Meta, TikTok, and you want to use the soundtrack from the ARK animated series, you can. And they even say if you have any issues, just get in touch, we'll sort it out. You use it. We want to allow our content creators to be able to have these sick tunes on their content. Now, the soundtrack releases on the 29th. We are getting spoiled in the back end of March here, out of nowhere, which is crazy. But I'm really, really excited. The music in ARK is beautiful. And I've heard that the music that accompanies this animation is exceptional. So I'm super excited to see what that sounds like. It might be the kind of stuff that's good to work to. When you need some just chill classical style music on in the background, bop that on, feel focused on your work, drown out the world. It's going to be great, but that is really cool of them to let content creators use that, and it's going to be safe. You're not going to get claimed. You're not going to get content ID'd. It's going to be fantastic. So look out for that on March the 29th. But the main thing to take away is that we are apparently getting Scorched Earth on the 31st of March, that all of the other canonical maps are on target for their release dates that are set in the roadmap. And finally, we're going to get some extra DLC content. Looks like it is a season pass for at least the next 3 maps. Oh, and there's music. There's going to be some sick music you can put in all your videos. I don't even know if they have to be ARK related. Can I just make a video of me in the shower or something with the ARK music? No. Nobody wants to see that. But guys, that's it. I'm excited to see what's to come at the end of the month. I think all of this is really good for ARK. And it's just nice to have something positive to talk about and to speculate about, because I'm not going to lie, I've just been a little bit deflated with the way everything's been recently. Now, if good news keeps coming out, interesting stuff keeps happening, or there's things that I feel I should talk about, maybe I will. Maybe I'll come up with a better format, or maybe I'll just sit and talk to my camera again. Depends if you guys like it. But I am going to call that there, guys. Thank you for watching. If you found this informative, useful, please remember to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Let us know about your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. I would love to hear it. And until next time, you guys take care, and I'll catch you later. Cheerio.